Hey everyone, we're going to be doing something very fun. Well, it's not really very fun. Um, at least I didn't think it was. This is a video discussing what I did for a alternator change on a Jeep Grand Cherokee 2005 OM642 3-liter CRD engine. This is the alternator I put in. It has an equivalence with a Vallejo TJ17CO30B unit. Um, that was the alternator which came out of the car, and I was going for a drive. I see the battery light come on my dash. Check the OBDT scanner. Check the voltage. See it dropping. Try rev the car. Doesn't go up. Think, oh, I'm gonna go home. Turn around, go home. Voltage dropping more and more and more. Got home at 8 volts. Okay. I did a video, looked at a Chris Fix video on how to test an alternator. So they recommend cleaning your terminals, checking a fusible link, although I'm not sure the Jeep Grand Cherokee 05 has one, at least none that I could see. That was obvious. Yeah, clean the terminals, and then I did a connection, like a check where you turn basically everything on the car. Put a negative, I think a positive terminal on the battery from a multimeter in volts DC, and then you put the negative terminal on the outside of the alternator body, and you see if it goes above a certain value. Anyways, it did, so I'm like, oh, it's probably fucked. So, yeah, I decided, alright, it's probably the alternator. Let's go fix it. So, yeah, that's the unit that I put in. These are the units that you can get that, if what you buy is an equivalent to this and it's working. Also, an important note, the alternator I had in here originally, the TJ fucking 17, even though this says it was an equivalent, it had an extra pin on the cord going into the alternator, into the voltage regulator. So I think it's because the Sprinter, because the OM642 engine is in a couple of different cars, and it's in Mercedes Sprinters, and this is a Sprinter alternator. It's the same voltage, sorry, not voltage, but amperage. I think it's like a 200. It's either a 180 or a 200 amp unit, so it still works the same. But there's just an extra pin there. So I looked at it and I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be an issue. Long story short, it wasn't. So whether you have a 2 pin or 1 pin, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so getting it out is pretty self-explanatory, but there's a few things that you should probably know. Like these ones, you basically get the it looks like a U, and then you pry out the center, and then you can rip out the thing that goes in it. That's not a big thing. With the grill at the front, it basically has 4 or 6 of these little claws that are like pulling in. So basically what you want to do is you want to push inwards and then up. For the airbox, you can get the hook off here really easy. This one, you want to slide your hand around the car and then undo it. The only thing holding the airbox in is basically a little rubber mount below it. There's a little hook here, I guess, but it's not really. It's basically the airbox rests in it, and here is a 10mm bolt. It's very difficult to get it off. So what you need to do is you need to take off these Jubilee clips going into the turbo. Undo it, remove it here, take this whole pipe off, take the airbox off, and there's enough space to fit a very thin 1/4 inch with a big extension on to undo the 10mm bolt there, and then the airbox housing will lift off. This engine bay obviously does not have the cover on it, but that's just 2 screws. To get the battery off, the little the thing that retains the batteries down here. It's a 10mm bolt, and there's like a couple. There's like one here. There's a nut here, and I think there's something at the back or here. There's like 3 or 4 of them. But there's a nut that comes off. You have like this downpipe, and there's a can you see it in this image? You can't really see it too well. These are very bad images, unfortunately. I don't have any good ones, but there's an elongated e-Torx, or I think you can see it. Maybe that's it, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's over here. It's an elongated e-Torx, so you need deep e-Torx sockets. So this is a very important note. If you're going to do this job, you need short and long e-Torx sockets. E-Torx is it has a female end going onto an external male bolt. You can't really see it, but here, these are e-Torx here. So there's quite a lot. So take that off, and then you want to take off, there's 2 e-Torxes. There's like one here and then one there. And that's how we're holding. I really don't know what it does, to be honest, but I mean, it's connected to the turbo, so maybe it has something to do with the exhaust or some shit. You take that off, and it covers the belt tensioner, which is why you gotta take it off. There's a piping here, and there's an intercooler piping down here as well, and you also need to take off this pipe here. This is the air intake for the airbox. This is 2 parts, so this will unscrew out of here, and it's just a sort of like a friction fit, like a bit like a vacuum cleaner. You know how you have to twist and pull out? It's a little bit like that. So you need to take off there's a Jubilee clip down here, and this one is sort of like a latch, and you get a flat bladed screwdriver and pull it out. Same shit here, then you pull it out. So you take off the intercooler piping, and you take off the big piping here. It's like fucking 2 inches in diameter, rubber. You take off the intake manifold, which has a sensor in it, which is about there. What else do you take off? Oh, and we gotta talk about getting the fucking serpentine belt off. So this is a map of the serpentine belt, and the tensioner is this thing here. We'll get to this in a little bit. This is the tensioner, and when you look at it, it says loosen this way. If you haven't dealt with spring tensioners before, what this is saying is you do not loosen this center nut. You pull on this 12-sided. This is just a regular, I think it's a 17mm socket. You pull on it in the direction of the arrow to take the slack out of the system. Sorry, to put slack in the system, and then you can insert an Allen key, and you insert it as far deep as you can, and then you let go. And because you're doing this, you're inducing slack in the system, which will allow you to take the belt on and off. Okay, so that's the tensioner here. You see the pulley here, and then the main bolt for it, and then there's a thing down here. So this is the direction to which you have to set up your serpentine belt. I fucked up, and I somehow dented this, so I had to get a new one. But it wasn't such a bad idea, because this pulley was really quite worn out, so maybe it's a blessing in disguise. So that's about there. There's a that's not it, that's for a fucking coolant, I suppose. Yeah, I think so. On this AC lines, so people talk about bending AC lines. You don't need to do that, but you do need to take it out of here. It's sort of just a fitting that sits there, and you pry it out. Speaking of which, I need to do that. I need to put mine back in, but there's enough stiffness in the line, so it shouldn't really matter. So this is the alternator, and how you get it out? Well, there's 2 bolts, and then at the top, and then 2 bolts at the bottom. You can see these 3. You can't see this one. So what I recommend getting is a 150mm ratchet, probably a 3/8, so that you can put your e-Torx on it Actually, no, these are regular hex head bolts, so you don't need any torques. But you need to have relatively, I guess, normal sized hands. Smallish hands are better. If you have really fat hands, this is going to be a really hard job. But you get in there, you take off the fucking nuts, the bolts rather, remove the terminal holding it down, and unplug the alternator there, and you're like, how do I get the sumbitch out? So you want to have the pulley facing you, and you basically want to try and drag it as much as you can here, and then have the pulley facing you, and you basically need to start pulling and wriggling the cunt out. So I've scratched it, and that's basically because that's the space that you're dealing with. And when you're putting it in, you try and align these grooves in the bolt down areas on the engine. So you try and work with the space you have. Now, people are like, hey, oh, you also need to take off this coolant pipe to give you space. So when you do this, you will probably lose about half a litre to 3/3 of a litre of coolant. So catch it in like an ice cream container or something. Now people says that, hey, it's a bit easier if you undo an engine mount here-ish and jack the engine up. And they're probably true. I didn't really want to do that. So I didn't. Anyways, it took about a while to get it out, to get the right area, like the right fucking, what do you want to call it, orientation. But it absolutely is 100% possible to get it out without jacking the engine up. But you need to have it facing you, at least in my experience, because you can pull on these handles to get it out. Pushing it in is way easier. You have gravity helping you. But this is a task where like you can let go and it isn't gonna fucking fall out. So, you know, you do that, and then you basically do the reverse. You know, bolt it up. I was to get the fourth bolt, you basically stand on the side. Having a stool is useful, but again, it will hurt you. You'll hurt your knees, you hurt your arms. My arms are bruised because I was squeezing my hands in places that they shouldn't have been. Put the belt on there. You then pull again to take basically, like, you take the slack in, and then you get a pair of pliers to pull out the pin, and then you slowly let the slack off, and then this will tighten the system and tighten the belt setup, and everything will be good. So make sure that your alignment is like this. In my case, the pulley, the alternator that came off was a 7-ribbed alternator pulley, and this one is an 8, so I basically just put it closer to the engine, and the alignment is fine. I don't see anything wrong with it, so it looks good to me. But yeah, get your deep sockets. You only need it for one bolt, but it's still good to have if you're going to work on this piece of shit. And it definitely is doable. It took me about a day and a half because I fucked up and I damaged the pulley on the tensioner, so I had to order a new one. But you know, you can do, and this, I've never done an alternator before. This is the first time doing one in my life, and I was able to do it. So if I was able to do it, you can too. So yeah, that's my advice for this one. Good luck. It's gonna suck. It is fucking terrible. It's a terrible job. Probably why it costs so much money. But hey, you know, if you have the ability to pay for it, pay for it. I wouldn't recommend anyone doing this themselves because it's a pain in the ass. But if you don't have the money, well, try your best. So yeah, that's it. Good luck. Yeah, there's some really good videos. There's a video of a guy putting this belt on. The video's here. He's like a Slav. There's a guy, some American guy who has one of these, and then there's another one where he pulls up the map and shows it to you. It's like a 7-minute long video. and then there's another one where he's sort of doing a time lapse, and I used all three to give me a clue as to how the fuck to do this, but other than that it was just me figuring it out. But yeah, good luck, have fun. Not really.